Well, it's still morning, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, we got a great morning, great afternoon, all day with these open house events. It's an opportunity to bring community together and showcase people from the community. So our first session is Blake Savoie. He's a staff member here, and his passion is dieting and fasting.
No, it's not. It's getting jacked. So that's what we're learning here today.
Yeah. He's all about optimal health, both of the physical body, but today what we're going to talk about is that of the mind, the mental game that's involved in that. Yeah. So if you've ever had the pleasure of meeting Blake, you know that he's a super positive, upbeat guy. And so he's going to be kind of sharing his core philosophy around that, the mental mindset game of health. And we're going to hear from a variety of folks today. It's kind of a variety show. There's no particular theme other than it's almost spring, right? Yeah, 3 p.m. tomorrow, I guess, is the official equinox, the turning of back into longer days. And we can feel it, right? Feels really good. So anyways, each presenter will have about 45 minutes, including some question time. Then we'll give a break between each session. Yeah, and you're welcome to hang out all day, come and go. And I know that'll be the flow all day. The guys from Boreal Bound up here later on, hanging out, having some samples. There's some free stickers over there. And who knows what we'll get up to as well. So without further ado, I don't want to take any more time from you. So thanks a lot, Blake.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Malcolm.
Yeah.
All right. Holy. So this is my first experience talking in front of a live audience, but I do have a lot of experience talking behind the camera. I've kind of found comfort behind there, and this is kind of the step up. And me being here today is doing exactly what I'm going to be teaching and talking about today. Now, this is overcoming the restrictions of the body and the mind. So I want to start with talking a little bit about the body and what I've come to, and then we'll go diving into the mind, because without the proper perspective, in my opinion, shifting how we move on a daily basis is going to be more difficult, because we have to let go of the aspects of us that prevent us from showing up for ourselves in all of those areas. So with the body, my perspective is that Mother Nature has given us movement patterns. And if we're not using them on a daily basis, we're eventually going to start losing them. And throughout society today, we are very internally rotated. We're driving, we're sitting on our computers, we're looking down. So we're very tight. And this causes us to get injured, right? We're sitting all the time. Weakness in our hips causes us to have back pain and therefore creates injury. And we need to address that if we want to live and have a body that serves us properly for our entire life. We don't want to be spending the remainder of our life limited in our movement. I'm going to be old one day. I'm going to have kids. We're going to have kids. And I want to be able to still play and to still have fun and to still use the body that I was given. And so that being said, I can only say as much about the body as I can, but I want to get into the mind. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pass around this book. I have a free program that I'm going to pass out. I've filmed every single exercise included. You don't need any equipment. This program is going to address the toes, the ankles, the knees, the hips, the spine, the shoulders, and the neck. And we're gonna address it all. And you can start doing this at home. There's regressions to every single exercise. And the goal is to meet a longevity standard and to actually get your body mobile and strong. And if you meet these exercises that are going to be on this program, you don't need to ever go to a gym. We have a body. That's what that's for. The gym is for people who want to, like me, progress to higher levels because it's fun. But if you just want to have a life that you can move through, this program is going to do that for you. You don't need to meet me in person. Everything's done for you. So I'm going to pass it out. My Instagram is there, and you can follow me on there as well just to get some extra tips. But now let's dive into the mind. This is the most important part. And I'm getting parched because I'm speaking fast and I'm a little bit nervous. So yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. So the mind is my true passion. And I know that it doesn't look like that because, I've been working out for 7 years and I started bodybuilding. But, and hello everyone online too. But with the mind, what I want to leave you here with today is a shift in your relationship with life. And I have some notes here, so I'm going to be looking down and referring to them. But the first question that I want to address is like, has anyone ever heard that we're not our minds? We're not the mind. Some of you have. Well, if we're not the mind, who are we? And so I'm going to take you through a little exercise to kind of connect to a deeper part of yourself. And then at the end of this, hopefully you're leaving life navigating from a different part inside of you. Okay, so there's a table here. How do you know that you're not the table? Well, the table's here and you're there, right? So of course you're not the table. You're aware of the table. It's not you. Same with the chair that you're sitting on. It's not you. Now look at your hand. Everybody look at their hand. You're aware of your hand. The hand is part of the body. You're not your body. If you can become aware of something, it must mean that you're not it. And then you either agreed with that question or you didn't agree. But what stemmed from that question was a thought. Agree or disagree, it's a thought. If you can become aware of the thought, you must not be the thoughts either. We go through life, something happens, we feel a little bit of anger or a little bit of fear or a little bit of sadness or joy and love, the emotions that we love to experience on earth or that we think we love. Those are just emotions. We observe, we see. If we disconnect, they're just there. And so we're not our emotions either. All we are is the observer of our thoughts, feelings, and the outside world. Those are the three objects of our consciousness, okay? Now I'm going to talk about, from that place inside of us, the observer of those three things, how do we navigate? Because what do we want to do in life? What do we truly want in life? There's two things. I'm going to refer to what I wrote. There's what we think we want, and there's what we actually want, okay? But what we think we want is what we think is going to give us what we actually want. And so we think that we want the nicest car. We think we want the nicest body. I thought I wanted the nicest body. I thought that was going to make me feel good inside. We think we want anything. Think of all the things that we think we need in our life in order to feel happy, in order to feel joy, in order to feel peace, all of those things. But what it really comes down to is we want to feel okay inside. So it brings up the question. We can either look and fight through our life and try to control everything outside of us to make us feel good inside, or we can ask ourselves why we're not okay inside right now. Why can't we just feel that way? Why can't we feel peace and joy with the experience that's unfolding and navigate life from that place? And so we have two options. Like I said, we can do everything in our life to control our experience in order to get us to feel that way, or we can start letting go of the things that prevent us from feeling, the feelings that we know we can experience now. Love is ever present. I believe it's our God-given right. It is our right as humans to feel good inside. And there's a day, like as we go through life, like things happen. The outside world gets in the way. You're stuck in traffic behind a vehicle that's going too slow, in your opinion, right? And you start to feel this bubble of emotion inside. You feel it and you're like, you know what? This person needs to go faster because I'm in a rush and I need to get to a certain place on time, right? But what if, in order to actually feel good in that moment, we just need to see life as it is, accept it, and be okay with the life that's in front of us, and just be. And so what I'm trying to offer is a place that's beyond all of our expectations. And where did these expectations come from? We had an entire life before we became aware that we're here. Like when you're a kid, there's a time when you're unconscious and you're just absorbing everything. You're just absorbing it all. And something happens, you don't like it, the mind remembers that. The mind remembers every single thing that you didn't like, the mind remembers. And so it begins to navigate its experience and tries to avoid the things that we don't want and run towards the things that we do want. But we have to stop doing that because that is the root of our suffering. Like we need to find a way to be okay with the unfolding and play with life again. We've gotten away from that play, and we've fallen into this pattern of, if life doesn't go my way, I can't be happy until it does. And people will live their whole entire lives like this. And I get caught in it all the time. Like, you know, even with this experience and me given the opportunity to come speak in front of you today, it was scary. I felt a lot of fear. Every single thing in my mind was like, what if we mess up? What if we don't know what to say? What if we stumble on our words? What if we can't catch the flow that we catch on a daily basis when we're speaking to the individuals that come in? What if we can't show up? All of that. And my answer is, so what? Who cares? I can come up here and absolutely blow it and you may not hear a single thing that I'm trying to say to you. And that's okay. That's okay, because I'm not here to find a specific end result. I'm not here to reach a certain level of perfection. What I teach is a progress. It's a path of progress. We don't have an end goal. It's a constant pursuit of letting go of the parts of ourselves that make us not feel okay inside. That's literally it. And with that brings up a lot of questions. Everyone has a different experience. Hi there. Thank you for coming in. That's okay. Everyone has a different experience in life. And we have to acknowledge that our experiences are different, but at the root, we're the same. We're the observer of that experience itself. And to say that one is harder than the other is a denial of both of their experiences. We're just navigating. It's scary in here. Like, I know all of you guys are in there. You all have things that are scary that you're going through. And the thing is, if we want to try and find true fulfillment, we have to find the things that we're afraid of most and go towards it. Because if we're constantly looking at the fear and our mind's like, nope, shift that way. Nope, I'm going to shift away from the fear. Nope, I'm going to shift this way. We're running from the exact thing that we need to actually accomplish and grow through in order for us to feel fulfillment. There's a play with life. We get to navigate from this place of awareness. It's not, oh, now that I'm awareness, I'm free and I don't have goals and I'm just going to not care about life. It's like, no, I can choose from this place of awareness to overcome every single thing that I observe is holding me back from the person that I know I can become on this earth. It's a game. It's the hardest video game we will ever play. I don't know if much of you guys played video games, but I've played a lot of video games and some of them are pretty hard, but this life is the hardest game I've ever played. And facing fear time after time after time and taking the risks and knowing that, wow, I've been okay the whole time. What do I have to worry about? I have nothing to fear. We have nothing to fear. We're literally just here experiencing life as it is. And if we're not okay with something, that is us doing the suffering. Our suffering is self-inflicted, and nothing outside of us is actually in control of how we feel inside. The unfoldment and the resistance of what's unfolding in front of us is what's going to cause us to feel the discomfort of, I wish this was different. We attach to certain outcomes and we resist other outcomes. That is the root. That's the root of our pain. If we just let go, and I'm going to try to start this business. Here I'm trying, like, liberation training is my training model. I help people move properly as Mother Nature intended, and I help people navigate life from a place of peace and love for everyone else and their self first. That's what I do. This is what I'm trying to create with my life. But what if that doesn't work out? The pursuit of doing that is the point. It's not to eventually get to a place where I have a goal of becoming financially free, doing something I love, but I'm okay with how long that's going to take, because the person that I've become over the past 7 years of trying to do that and to try to even figure out what I'm trying to do, the person I've become is completely different than the person I once was, because I'm trying to change in here. I'm trying to reprogram my mind that says you can't be happy around your family, or you can't lose, or you can't do certain things. I used to be a very angry person. I used to lash out at my family, and family's the biggest battle, and I used to lash out a lot. And the biggest insight for me was realizing that that wasn't just the way I was. We like to attach to our identities around things. You know, I've been angry all my life. Can't change it. It's just the way I am. And it's a bypass for our actions. Oh, I lashed out at you. That's just the way I am. I'm sorry. I can't do anything about it. It's like, no, we absolutely can with self-awareness, conscious awareness in the practice of self-awareness in every single moment of our lives. That is liberation. Every single moment something happens, you feel something inside, that's an opportunity to let go of a part of yourself that causes more suffering. Every single moment. It's not you're going to leave this class and be free. No, it's the path of liberation. It's the path of freedom that never ends. There's always things that are going to come up. There's always things. Anytime something comes up, it's an opportunity to let go. Breathe and relax. Behind. Become aware that you're aware of the experience. And you can let go further and further and further. And has anyone heard of Michael Singer and The Untethered Soul? Yeah, so that's one of my favorite books. I've listened to every single thing I can find on him. And he's you know, what really took me to this next level of living that is bringing this peace inside of me. And he preaches, start with low-hanging fruit. So that's why I like to talk about traffic. Because if you're in traffic, when I was in traffic, and so when I lived in New Brunswick back home, it was a 30-minute drive to the gym. And it was, you know, it's a very small town. There's a lot of people who just like to take their time. They're retired, they're in no rush. And I was trying to get to the gym to get my workout. I was drinking pre-workout at the time, and I was like, I'm fired up, like I gotta go. And so these people would be slow, and there's cars, so I couldn't pass. And I would just get so frustrated inside and so angry. And I started listening to these people who were talking about the mind, and I realized that like I was doing it. I was the one who was creating the suffering. It's like, okay, it's not that big of a deal to get mad in traffic. It's just traffic. You're by yourself. Nobody's seeing it. But what does those emotions do to you? What does the constant flush of the cortisol that comes from anger and frustration do on a daily basis? What does stress cause? It's disease. If we're not feeling okay inside, something's not right. But we have the power to create a peaceful energy inside. And so starting with traffic, getting to a point where anything can happen. Someone can cut me off, and I have lower days that, you know, it still comes up, but that's just another opportunity to let go. But most of the time, I'm way better than I ever was. And so that level, reaching that level now allows me to go to a higher level. And my journey of social media, posting when other people were going to see me, expressing my heart when other people might see that I went to high school with, and starting to film myself on camera when other people might see, you know, and then stepping into this place when other people might judge me. I'm opening myself, I'm being vulnerable. That's scary. But if I'm stepping into my power, and this power that we all have, that we all possess, like, I think there's no reason to be afraid, because if we're running from the fear and we're running from the discomfort, we're never going to grow into another version of ourselves. We're never going to step into our power and above and above and above. It's like, it is this endless path. Like, I feel so grateful that I've become aware of it so young, because it's endless. Like, the potential for me is endless. The play that I get to experience on earth is endless. Like, I don't need to do something in order to fulfill this emptiness inside. Like, I feel whole. I want to continue to feel fuller and fuller and fuller just from the fact that I'm alive and that I get to experience life. If we come back to that idea that like we just popped up in this body at one point. We just popped in here. Like, it's insane. It's insane. And so we hold that as we go through our life. It's like, I'm going to take the biggest risk I have ever taken in my entire life. And it's okay if I fail, because meeting the expectation of I need to do this in order to be happy isn't what we need to strive for anymore. It's like, I need to be happy now, and then go through life with this, like, navigating from this place of peace, right? And play. Another thing I want to talk about is compassion. And compassion has been one of the biggest things that I first found for other people, and then had to turn onto myself because I was so able to have compassion for other people's struggles. But then when it came to mine and my failures, I would be hard on myself. Be like, why can't you be better? You're preaching on how to let go of yourself and you're still smoking weed and you're still eating junk food and you're not perfect. And then I realized that I was holding myself to a standard that I didn't expect of other people because I understood how difficult it was, but I wasn't able to see that I was going through hard stuff too. And so letting go of that, having more compassion and love for the struggle and the fact that I won't be perfect right away, and starting with low-hanging fruit and focusing and turning the shower to cold at the end and doing these little hard things along the way to prove to my mind that I am in control. My mind's not in control anymore. The mind that says, just sit and just don't do anything. Sometimes he wins, but I had a good conversation with him on the way over here because I was feeling so nervous after the gym. And I was like, ooh, there's nerves. And I was trying to just ignore it. And then I was like, well, what's up? What are you feeling? What's going on? He was like, well, I'm scared. Like, what if we mess up? And then, and I was like, okay, what if we mess up? Well, it's going to be embarrassing. It's going to be embarrassing. It could be. And so what if we mess up and it's a little bit embarrassing and things don't go exactly as we planned? It doesn't matter because I personally, my journey, I faced the fear to get up on stage and talk to all of you guys and talk to everyone online. And to me, that's where the growth happens. It doesn't matter about the result of this class at all. That's why, like, I just wanted to trust that I was going to be able to express from this place and give people the messages that they needed to hear. And yeah, thank you very much. And I know I can talk a lot. It's 11:24. Does anybody have any questions? A lot can arise from these places. If not, I can begin to talk about so many other things. Keep talking. Thank you. I don't know where the computer went, but beautiful. Good, that's good. I'm like, maybe everyone's just tuned out and I'm just talking away. No. We're all good, that's good. Okay, so I was just looking for, I thought I was looking behind and making sure I wasn't ignoring the online peeps. But one thing we want to know is how they can get access to this. Oh yeah. If you want to type in my Instagram on the chat, they can follow me on there. And if they don't have Instagram, I'll also type in my email as well. All right. Here, if you want to do that, I have the information on the business card. Also, there's my business cards here if you guys want them as well. But let's talk about perspective. Choosing a perspective of the world that makes us feel the best inside, right? As we go through life, there are multiple perspectives that we can choose from. You know, like in traffic, we can choose to see this as an inconvenience, or we can accept the fact that we're behind this person and it's okay. And we can judge this person, or we can also maybe acknowledge the fact that maybe they just got into an accident and they're just starting to drive again. Or maybe they're just a little bit scared. Deerfoot's freaking crazy, right? And so maybe we just have to acknowledge that and have compassion for everyone, right? And like the perspective we choose to see is what dictates how we feel inside. And so if there is a moment as you're going through your life that you're feeling a little bit uncertain, what perspective, what story is being told to you by your mind? And speak to your mind. It is an entity. It's there. It is trying to keep you safe. It loves you. And that's an insight that I had just actually this morning. And I was brought to tears because I felt its love. The mind was created to keep us safe. And we diss the mind. We think, oh, it's ego. I don't like ego. It keeps me down. But all it's ever trying to do is keep you safe, because when you were a kid and something happened and you didn't know how to experience it, it created a pathway that said, we have to avoid this because my job is to keep this person, this thing, this entity, this consciousness, this awareness, God, safe, right? And so having love for that mind and appreciating and talking to it, it's trying to keep us safe. And I had a beautiful conversation with it. And I was like, let's unite. Let's work together. And I understand that you're coming from this place of trying to keep me safe, but we've grown. The reason that I was afraid, and it started to bring things up when I was in grade 4, I had a public speaking class or something. I don't know. It was like an English class, and we had a public speaking thing. I was in grade 4. I was so young, and I had to memorize a script, or had to write and memorize my own speech, like a 5-10 minute speech or whatever. And I remember like writing it. My mom helped me, and I did it on my dad, who had one leg. And I was like talking about his prosthetic leg and how like inspiring he is. And it was emotional. I feel the emotions coming up right now. Like I forgot parts of my speech and I got really scared. My mom left work to come watch me. She was in the class. And after I finished, I went and I cried right beside her. I just sat beside her and I started crying. And so my mind brought that up as a reminder. Remember this? Remember, we can't do this. And I saw that and I was like, I appreciate you for bringing this up. And I love that memory because it shows that I'm a different person now. I'm able to come up here. I've done the work to let go of the part of myself that is afraid of messing up. I don't have a perfect speech that I'm going to memorize word for word. I don't. I have bullet points just to remind me of the trail that I want to take and the train that I want to jump on. But I want to trust that I'm going to know what to say when I'm here in the moment. I don't need to prepare. Preparing is of the mind. He likes to prepare because that's what's safe. But I am safe all the time. So I don't need to prepare for safety. Safety is my right. Even when I'm on my deathbed, I'm going to be safe. It's the safest experience of all. We're going on to the next path. We're either going to be there or we're not. And Michael Singer says, if you're not there, it's not, oh my God, you're not there. You're not there. So it's nothing to worry about either. But if we are there, that's also beautiful. We get to experience what's after. But right now we're here. We're living inside a temple. We get to take care of this temple. We get to nourish it. The Light Cellar is this beautiful place that teaches people how to nourish their body. And I've learned so much working here, and I'm so grateful for it. And, puzzle pieces of life and bettering ourselves. I think a lot of it starts with what's in here and reprogramming. It is just a program, and we can program it. If I was an angry person, I can reprogram it to be the most loving person that I could possibly be. And I'm not afraid to say that I love every single one of you. And we need to go through life understanding that true compassion is unconditional. True love is unconditional, not only for other people, but for ourselves. There's not a single person that could say anything. You can come up to me and say, honestly, that was really shitty. And I would still love you because I understand what your mind is telling you. I see through it. If there are people who are hurting others, it's because they've been hurt and they haven't yet seen truth. They haven't yet seen the fact that they are not that has been hurt. They are the experience of the pain, of the perceived suffering, but they are not the suffering. We also need to take a look at the range of emotions that the heart can feel. It goes from the hardest suffering and pain that we could ever experience to absolute bliss. Who here has had a moment where they felt really low? Who here has had a moment where they felt really high? Who prefers the high ones? Yeah, exactly. But when we take a step back and see life for what it is, the fact that our heart gets to experience that range of emotions, and when you're feeling low and you no longer identify that with bad and the highs ones with the good, and you just see them as they are, that's where peace is. That's where peace and love lies. It's beyond the emotion. It's, I'm grateful for this pain. I'm grateful for this joy. Gratitude, right? Having gratitude for the fact that we are alive and get to experience it all, that's where the true happiness begins. And that's I feel, like if we take that stand as we move through our life and constantly remind ourselves, we're going to forget and we're going to remember. Every time you are in this place of low, and I get caught in it all the time. I'm low for like a few hours, an hour, a few hours, a day, and then I come back out of it and I remember, and I sit with that, remembering that life is more. Life is more than this thing that my mind says that I need to be in order to be happy. Like, I've been struggling with money for the past 2 years. It's been my current state. And yeah, it's brought a lot of stress, but I wouldn't change it for the world. And how we perceive our past is a major factor on how we feel right now. Oh, I can't feel this because this happened to me yesterday or 2 weeks ago or 10 years ago. Like, this is the reason I'm this way. It's only because you're attaching to that experience that it's still controlling you today in your actions. I was heartbroken, so I'm too scared to date. I'm too scared to put myself out there. There was, and Michael Singer tells this story. There's a guy who was in a relationship with this girl he really loved. It happened for a whole year. And she ended up running away. She was like, I can't do this. It's like, I just can't. And for 3 months, he was in a deep depression. He hardly ate. His house was a mess. And he was just super, super depressed. And 3 months later, she comes back and she's like, I made a mistake. I had a lot of time to think, and I really want to do this with you. I really want to work through this. I have a tendency to run away. It comes up from my past, and I want to step back in if you'll allow me. In a second, he went from depressed to the highest feeling he's ever felt. He cleaned his whole house. He made her dinner, and she came over. How is that possible? It wasn't the external event that made him feel good inside. It was his attachment to now life was meeting his expectations. But if he understood that life happens as it is and everything happens for a reason, he would have been okay. And he would have understood that life has a bigger purpose in store for him. Anything bad that happened to me or anything hard that I've been through, I've embraced. And I don't regret, and I don't think or wish anything in my past didn't happen to me. And I know that there are really, well, what about this? What about if this thing happened? And I understand. And it is hard to work through some of those things. And there is energy, and lots of energy that has been stored inside of us from events like that. And that is where the work begins. Anytime you notice that pattern coming up, see it as an opportunity to let go. Have compassion for where this is coming from, instead of wishing it wasn't there or hating it or lashing or spewing judgment on yourself. We have to see things from that place of love. It always just stems back to that. And sometimes it can sound pretty cliche, or toxic positivity. I've heard the term. But positivity isn't toxic if you're the one who's truly doing it and feeling it, right? It's only toxic to the person who's in a state, who's feeling low, and you're spewing it. Yeah, sometimes that person doesn't need to hear that, and you need to let them sit through what they're feeling. Sometimes advice isn't needed, and you're the only one you can truly control, unless people are coming to you and asking for your help. It's an open invitation to then speak from your heart and try to help them and give them some insights, that may help them. But it's only going to work if they're open to it. If they're closed off, it's not going to work. I've been closed off before. And when I'm closed off, my girlfriend Sarah here, she'll try to give my advice, and I don't even want to hear it. Even if everything she's saying I know is true, I'm still closed off, and I'm just like, no, I'm like, life sucks. And it's okay to be in those. And when I get out of it, I don't cast judgment on myself. The fact that I'm still falling into it, it's okay. But to constantly remind myself and to give ourselves constant reminders of who we want to show up as in life, to write something down in the morning and read it every single day, it can start your day off from this place of your higher self, rather than like I find myself waking up in the morning and I'm just, I feel low and I'm like, I'm like, I don't know why, but recently I've just been looking in the mirror. It's like, it's going to be a good day. And I'm grateful to be alive. And my dad, since I moved, like, he's been sending me these just positive messages every single morning, and I'll send one back, or we'll just be doing it back and forth. And I really appreciate that he thinks of me. And, you know, they've helped because I've been feeling low, and then he'll just in the moment, he'll just send me a text and I see that. And it's like, oh yeah, people care. And I need to have more love for myself. People have so much love for me, and I fail to give that to myself. We're hard on ourselves. We're the hardest on ourselves than we are on other people. And to shift that and to really start loving ourselves and and loving our experience, that's when those are the moments when that real change begins to happen, because I love myself enough to step out of my comfort zone so that I can grow into a higher version of myself, to be better, not only for me. I'm going to have children one day. If I'm passing on all of my patterns to them, they're going to have to do the work. If I take the time to do all the work, I know that I can't protect them perfectly, but I hope to start them off from a nice place, a nicer place. And generation after generation, the more aware we get, the more humanity evolves, the more of us that I feel adopt this perspective of the world and our life and existence itself, the entire humanity can change. Like, there are powerful minds that are creating all of this perceived evil in the world. And I say perceived evil because I don't really believe that there is good or evil. I believe that all is God. I believe that every single thing that is taking place is absolute perfection. It wouldn't be if it wasn't. It is. And to have a perspective of like, it's okay. It's okay. That's what makes me feel the best inside. Not, oh my God, this is horrible. And like, it causes me anxiety and it causes me stress. I stopped going down rabbit holes for that reason, because it caused me anger. And I knew that I didn't want to feel that inside. And so I had to shift my perspective. We got five minutes left. How are we all doing? How are we feeling? I spewed passion out onto you.
Amazing. Thank you. Like I didn't expect this. Oh, I'm not going to do it, but I thought, okay, something yeah. That's great faith, and I love your perspective about going down those rabbit holes, what's going in life. I was just going through all this reading, you know, like reading stuff, like, you know, why do you keep getting like that anger, like you keep hearing road rages and everything else, what you've come across with. So, you know, I'm glad you're going down this road, because you're going to help a lot of people.
I appreciate it. I appreciate that, Rodney. Yeah, we'll talk after. I'll give you the money. Yeah.
You ever been to the Humanities?
What institute?
Humanities.
I have
I
not.
think I in 2007, but he took this thing. But
Okay.
your dad to check it out.
Yeah. Okay. I don't know. There's.
Can I ask you a question for your dad last?
Yeah, he was 3 months old, and I think he's tuned in. Hi, Pops. But yeah, he was 3 months old, and it was gangrene that set in. Like, there was a needle that was left in too long, I believe, and I think that's the story. It was a needle that was left in too long. It caused gangrene, and he lost his foot, and then as he grew, he had to get more surgeries, but it's below the knee. So. For sure, and it's turned him into the man. Oh, and mine, yeah. My parents are beautiful people. They did set me up with a beautiful perspective. When I was 14, my mom gave me the book The Secret, which led me to the belief that I was in control. And I had, I was diagnosed with Crohn's disease when I was in grade 10. And I didn't believe for a second that I was going to be on meds for the rest of my life. I went through various treatments and my prescription for medication ran out and I just stopped. I was like, I'm good. And I would repeat, I heal myself. If I had pain, I would visualize the pain moving out and through my body. And I would just do that over and over again. And I adopted this like fasting period where I would just like fast. I'd basically just go in the morning, work out, fast until after my workout. And, that has helped me a lot too, fasting. If my pain would come up, I would just fast extra. But I do believe that the fact that I believed that this was not my story, that this was I didn't adopt the story that the doctors were telling me, I was actually able to overcome that. And I'm not in remission. I don't have it, I don't attach myself to the label of Crohn's disease. And it's another whole thing I can go down. It's attaching ourselves to labels. Let go of it all. It's all the mind. Come back and just navigate from that self of being aware that you're aware. Step on the right. So yeah. So making progress takes time. It takes patience, right? And to really get to a level where you're able to see the progress happening over time, we have to be able to be patient with the process. And I believe that my journey with fitness taught me that patience. But if you're coming from a different path, you have to adopt that patience with yourself in order to move and show up for yourself every day, to move a little bit every single day, to meet yourself where you're at and not judge yourself and not be angry and not be frustrated. And I know with movement, a lot of anger can come up, right? It does come up because it's so new and so uncomfortable. And the mind's like, your mind would love to make you feel bad or tell you not to show up and not to do it. But we got to let go of that too. In order to adapt to a level greater than we are, we have to let go of who we think we are now and move through that. Have compassion. It's like, okay, I know we could have started earlier. I know, but we're starting now. The best time to start was 10 years ago. The second best time to start was right now. There's no other time than that. You just got to start.
Whoa, well, thank you so much, Blake. Yeah, that was really great.
Thank you.
Okay, right on. Well, today is a variety show. We started with Blake and a very positive message about having that mental perspective. And thanks to everybody for tuning in online. We're just going to keep the live stream going. We're going to take about a 15-minute break. And then right at the top of the hour,